All right. Hi, everybody. I got Estrella here with me tonight for class. Give everybody a few minutes to log on. We've got Shadow hanging out on my mat. So, how's everybody doing tonight? If you would like to have blocks and you have them at home, great. Otherwise, large books work great. If you want to grab those, if you want to grab a pillow or a blanket to roll up and sit on for seated postures, go grab what you think you might like, or if you like a blanket for Shavasana at the end. You have a few minutes to get what you need, grab water, find somewhere where you're good for practice. And it's April, so we have made it through our first few weeks of the new normal, and we are here, and we're going to be here for a while, so see how, if there was any anticipation of this new normal ending soon, and that seems to not be the case, see what that might be bringing up for you. And right, yoga is a practice of getting into our bodies and hopefully a little bit out of our minds. So maybe that can help you navigate this space and all of the things that are arising as we find ourselves in these isolation bubbles, right, that we're not used to. We have another minute left. If anybody has any, like I said, any areas they want to work on, any things that are tight. I am thinking we're going to do some hips and low back tonight. Even though I have been getting to the woods or making a point to get to my mat, I have still been sitting much more than normal the past few weeks. So definitely want to get some movement going on in our low bodies. So feel free to get somewhere comfortable if you want to start breathing and tuning in as we give folks just another minute. And mats, blankets, books or blocks if you want those, and pillows. And so we will start in a comfortable seat tonight. So go ahead, and legs can be crossed. If that's not feeling good for your knees, you can come out to Baddha Konasana, butterfly, or legs can even be extended, right? Anywhere where your spine is going to be nice and tall and lifted. So go ahead and find that seat, let the spine grow tall. For some reason the screen is much longer on the Instagram feed, but hopefully you guys can see me and hear me okay. And go ahead and just close your eyes, or if that feels too intense, right, just find a soft gaze somewhere in front of you on the floor. Right, let's first all take a big deep breath in together through the nose. And let it go. Just sigh it out, release. And another one like that. Inhale. And exhale. Let it go. And let the breath start to move up and down the spine. Feel the chest rise and fall. Feel the shoulders rise and fall. Feel the hips get heavy and grounded. Notice if you are breathing more in your belly or more up in your lung area, perhaps even placing hands on the body if that would help you feel into that awareness. And if you do find that you're breathing into one or the other, see if the breath can fill up both places, your whole torso. Expand into that full capacity of breath, and exhale, squeeze it all out, draw the navel towards the spine, right? So a full inhale can happen next. And exhale. And take a few more rounds of your fullest breath. See if the mind can start to empty out its contents from the day. Whatever that might look like. And just come into your body. Feel where you are actually grounded on the earth. Feel your sits bones on the ground. And gently just take the chin towards the chest and breathe into the back of the neck. And slowly start to roll ear to shoulder and other ear to shoulder. Nice and slow, back and forth. Notice if there's any spots in the neck that feel tight, and feel free to stay there. Give that shoulder a little roll to open things up. Same thing on the other side. And if you want to take these into full circles, feel free. The chin can gently lift to the sky. Notice if there's any crunching going on in the back of the neck, and move gently, slowly, in reverse directions when you're ready. Eventually returning to neutral and taking the hands in front of the heart, and just circle out those wrists a little bit if you have still been working from home and typing a lot, right? Get any tension out of those wrists and forearms. Roll them both ways. And then we'll actually take the palm of one hand and press those fingers back towards you. Stretch that wrist forward. And then do the same thing with the other hand. Press those fingertips back, open up in that forearm, and shake it out, right? I've been doing a lot of shaking and dancing and movement, right? To get anything that's stuck, just let it go. Shake out those fingers, shake out those wrists, and then let the hands settle down on the lap. Notice what you feel. And then we'll go ahead and make really tight fists. Squeeze them up, tense up those shoulders. Exhale, let it go. And again, inhale, squeeze wrists, squeeze fists, squeeze shoulders. You can even scrunch them up towards your ears, let it go. And one more time, everything tight, squeeze it in, maybe squeeze your leg muscles, squeeze up your face, and let it go. Good, go ahead and take the feet out in front of you, let them come to your mat, and just windshield wiper those knees back and forth. Start to loosen up the legs and hips. Good, and take the legs out long. Give those knees a little shake. And then tick-tock the toes from side to side. And we're going to take our hands, get some of that blood flow going. Take your hands and just give yourself a little massage up and down your legs. The outsides of the thighs, down towards the ankles. Loosen things up a little bit. Good, and then go ahead and swing those legs behind you, coming onto all fours. And just make some circles with the hips. Hips towards the heels, shoulders over the wrists. See what you find. If there's anywhere that feels tight, feel free to hang out there or make some small movements. Reverse directions when you are ready. Take that circle the other direction. And then eventually, once you feel like you've moved the hips out enough, go ahead and press back to a child's pose. Knees can be together or wide. Forehead can come to the mat. If that does not happen and it doesn't feel good on your neck, make a pillow with the forearms. Forehead can come down onto those arms. Something that's comfortable and restful for the shoulders. And breathe. A few full breaths in your child's pose. Full breath in and full breath out. Let your hips sink down even more with each exhale. Maybe you press into those fingertips and lift the elbows off the ground, stretching those shoulders. And inhale back up to all fours. I'll turn sideways so you guys can see a little bit of what I'm doing here. Imagine you're pulling the wrists towards the knees and the knees towards the wrists, and lift those knees up a little bit. You're going to tap into the core, let those knees come down, and take it into your cow pose. So like a cat and cow, but when you come into your cat, you're going to lift those knees up, and then inhale, cow, exhale. You can just do a normal cat pose, but if you want a little bit extra in that low back and low abs, right, lifting those knees up with each motion. So the inhale is the same, dropping belly, lifting gaze, and then the exhale, maybe you squeeze those elbows, or I'm sorry, those wrists and knees together and even lift those knees off the mat. Move with your breath. Another one or two like that. And then again, press back, child's pose. This time we're going to slip that right arm underneath the left. Squish out that right shoulder, turn that right cheek to the side. Full breath in, full breath out. And back through center. And switch to the other side. Left hand slips under, thread the needle, turn the left cheek to the side. Press out that upper spine. Release that shoulder. Inhale back to center. Rise on up. We're going to do a little bit of outer hip work here. So first just make some circles, right? And as you're doing this, as that knee comes out to the side, see if you cannot lean really far over to the left, right? Try to keep that back steady. Draw that knee up into the belly and take it out a few times. And then reverse it the other way. Draw that knee away and take it out. Keep the spine nice and tall. And release that right knee down. Same thing on the left side. Keep the shoulders steady. Keep the hips steady. Slow circles. Get into that hip socket. Reverse directions if you haven't. Breathe as you move. And let that left knee come down. This time the right toes are going to come back. You can rock back and forth. Open up behind that right knee. And then lifting that right leg. Take it over behind that left heel. Gaze over that left shoulder. Stretch through the side. And lift that leg back up, bring it back to center, drop that knee down, press back through ball of left foot, open up behind that left knee, stretch out that ankle, and lift that left leg hip height, take it over behind the right heel, look over that right shoulder. And draw that back, knee comes down. Just take a few rounds of regular cat and cow here. Neutralize the spine. Flexion and extension. Really dive deep into those shoulder blades if there's been a lot of hunched overness. Right, make some space in the heart area. And then we're going to go ahead and tuck our toes and lift our hips downward facing dog. Really pedal out those legs if you need to. Really bend into each knee. Eventually find stillness in your dog. Let those heels reach towards the mat. See about loosening the head, loosen the jaw. Make sure there's no tension in the neck. Open those fingers wide. And we're going to inhale forward, high plank. Hold, open those fingers, keep them wide, supporting those wrists, press back through those heels, draw the navel up into the spine, exhale, float up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, ripple forward, high plank. Press through heels, reach through crown of head. You can always lower the knees down if you need to. And exhale up and back, downward facing dog. Go ahead and walk the feet towards the hands and let yourself hang in a ragdoll. Sway from side to side, shake the head out yes and no. Release. Maybe bend one knee and the other while you're hanging here. And when it's time, stilling yourself at center, bend those knees, tuck that chin, slowly roll your way up to stand. And when we find our Tadasana, We're going to open our toes nice and wide, right? Lay them down one finger, toe at a time. So you have a nice wide footprint, feeling into the balls of the feet and the back side of each heel. Then roll the shoulders a few times. Lots of dogs in my neighborhood, don't mind the barking. Roll the shoulders the other way. And then find stillness, right? Ground through the heels. Let the energy simmer down from your shoulders, through your legs, through your heels, into the earth. Right? Find your mountain pose. Lifting in the heart. Imagine that tailbone dropping down, right? So the spine is growing tall. And then inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, fingertips or shins, flatten out the back and hold. Press through tail, reach through crown. Flatten out the spine as much as you can. Imagine there's a marble in the center and you're keeping it there. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hands to heart. One more half salutation like that. Inhale, rise. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, halfway, flat back. Find that long spine. Reach from tail to crown. Shoulders move away from the ears. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep out and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Full sun salutation now. Inhale, rise. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, step your way back. Find your plank. Lower all the way to the belly. Inhale, hug the elbows in, baby cobra. Exhale, lower it down. Over the knees, roll your way back, downward facing dog. Find your breath here, reach those heels low, and then we'll inhale up on the toes, drop the heels over to the right. Inhale up on the toes, drop the heels to the left. Inhale back to center, heels come down. And again, walk your feet towards your hands. Let yourself hang. And you can either roll your way up or reverse swan dive your way up to stand. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, rise. Exhale, float forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, step that left foot back. Find your way into a lunge. So hands can be maybe on those books here or up on fingertips if you need a little more space. We're going to drop the back knee, untuck the back toes, hook the thumbs, reach it up, lift the heart. So breathe here, right? Find that space between the ribs and the hips. And we're going to reach those hooked thumbs up and over to the right. So you get a nice long stretch in that left side body. Come back up through center, and we're going to find a modified warrior two. So just turn that left foot behind you so it's perpendicular to your mat, and your front knee is bent, arms are going to come out. We're going to inhale and straighten that leg a little bit. Exhale, sink down. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, sink down. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, sink and hold. Right, adjust that front foot if you need to. Then we're going to flip that front palm and reach back. Maybe the fingertips even touch the floor here. Otherwise, they can even rest on the hip. Reverse warrior. And then exhale, cartwheel your hands back to that lunge. Turn that back leg straight. Slip your way back to your downward facing dog. You can move through your vinyasa here. Inhale, forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, find your back bend. And exhale, downward dog. Right, so adjust your vinyasas as you need to. If you want to do more chaturangas, feel free. If you want to come to the belly, do what you need. Come forward as you like. Maybe that's walking forward again. Maybe that's inhaling on the toes. Exhale, bend the knees. Step or float your way forward. Lift the gaze. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to heart. Full breath in your Tadasana before the other side. Ground through those heels. Lift through that heart. Inhale up. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale halfway. This time the right foot is going to come back. Find that lunge for a second. Really make space between the legs and drop that back knee. Untuck those toes. Hook the thumbs and lift. Open the heart. Feel the stretch in the front of that right hip flexor as you lean forward. Press into those hips. And then reach it up and over to the left. Make space through that whole right side body. And then we're going to come on down and find that adjusted warrior two. So that right foot's going to go perpendicular. Keep that left knee bent. Arms are up. Inhale, lift up and out a little bit. Exhale down. It's just a little different in the hips than when you do the standing. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. And as you exhale, imagine that knee is tracking out towards the pinky toe, right? So you're really making space in the inside of that hip. Then reverse the warrior. Keep the bend in that front leg. Maybe your fingertips find the mat or they stay on your hip. And then go ahead and come on back. Turn that right knee straight. Lift on up. Slip back downward facing dog. Feel free to stay here in your down dog or move through your vinyasa. We will meet in downward dog in a moment. Moving with your breath. Always an option to take a child's pose if you need it. And so from your down dog, either walking the feet forward or inhaling high and exhale, float your way between the feet, lift the gaze, exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hands to heart. Full breath in your Tadasana. Ground through the heels. Lift through the heart. Make space along your spine. Inhale, rise. Exhale, dive. Inhale, halfway. Step back. Find your plank. Hold here for a moment. Always an option to lower the knees. We're going to do a little tricep dip. Triceps come back. Press up. Right? Coming towards a little mini chaturanga. And press up. One more. And press up. Float back down dog. Keep that left heel grounded. Keep the shoulders steady. Lift that right leg. Keep the toes pointing down. Draw that knee forward. Hover for a moment. Squeeze it in. And then take that foot forward. Rise on up. Crescent lunge. So take a minute to check out your hips, right? Make sure that left hip is coming forward. So you're squaring off the front of the pelvis. Arms can reach. You can hook the thumbs or not. Palms can face each other. Really pressing into that front foot to give yourself some balance. Open that heart. Maybe those thumbs kick back. Feel that back heel pressing. Action in that left leg. And then exhale. Hands come down. Frame out that right foot. And twist open to the right. Full breath in your twist. Release that right hand down. Slip your way back, downward facing dog. Again, stay here. Move through your vinyasa. See what you need tonight. Options in your vinyasa all the way to the belly or your chaturanga. Find your back bend. And meeting in down dog or staying there. And then that left leg will lift. Keep the hips squared off. Keep the shoulders level. And then draw that left knee forward. Hover. Squeeze it towards the nose. And let that left foot come through. And rise up into your crescent lunge. Right, so take your time. Check out your shoulders. Sometimes we're leaning forward. Take them over your hips. Right, open the heart. Check out that right hip. Move it forward. Press through that right heel to straighten out that leg a little bit. That'll open up the hips. and where you want the hands to be, interlaced or no. Gaze can stay down if that feels better for the neck, or it can go up towards the thumbs. Find your breath. Exhale, hands frame that left foot. Hands can always simply come to the left thigh, otherwise twisting it up. Breathe in the twist. And exhale, frame it out. Slip your way back, downward facing dog. Again, option vinyasa, child's pose, or stay in your down dog, right? 5 breaths, take what you need. Full deep breaths wherever you are. If you're in your down dog, checking with that jaw, with that face, relax the muscles. If you're in your child's pose, hips are heavy. One more breath. And if you're in child's pose, meaning in your down dog, heels reach low, hips reach high, neck is soft. Inhale, high on the toes. Exhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. Step or float, lift the gaze. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep out and up. And exhale, hands to heart. Take those heels together. Ground down through the heels. Bend in the knees, fingertips sweep the earth. Inhale, rise. Exhale, open the arms. Bend the knees, fingertips touch the earth. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower. A few times like this. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fingers touch. Next time you exhale and those fingers come down on the inhale, you're going to keep the hips low, chair pose, Utkatasana. Lift the heart, lift the fingers, squeeze the thighs together. And exhale, dive over those legs. Wiggle them apart, hip width distance. Keep that left hand in the middle of the feet, underneath the face. Twist that right arm up. Bend that left knee. Full breath. And release the right hand down. Bend the right knee, twist open. Gaze can go up to that left hand or stay down at the mat. And release it down. Inhale, float it up. Exhale, hands to heart. Wiggle those heels together again. This time right away, we're going to bend the knees, fingertips sweep the earth. We lift up, Utkatasana, sink those hips back. Peek over those knees. You should see your big toes. And exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, step or hop your way back. Find your plank, lower down. Inhale, find your back bend. Upward facing your cobra. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Draw it forward between the hands. Spin that back heel down right away. Float up, warrior two. So just like we found when we were on the mat, but traditional warrior two. Now notice the difference in your hips, right? When you have to rely on that pressure in the back foot instead of being grounded down. And same thing here. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Really press into the outer edge of that back foot. Maybe each time that front thigh can sink down a little more. Eventually the goal is to make that front thigh parallel to the mat below. And next time you come down, we will hold. Gaze strong over those front fingers. Keep the bend of that knee, flip the palm, reach it back. Exhale, extended side angle, elbow to knee. Reach those left fingers above that ear, above the face. Inhale, rise up, warrior two. We're going to put our hands on our hips, hop that back foot forward a little bit. We're going to find half moon pose. There's a beautiful half moon in the sky tonight if you want to go peek at it after class. So that right hand's going to come down to the mat. I'll move back so you guys can see. And that left foot is going to lift. So we press through the heel of that left foot. The lifted leg is flexed. The hand can stay on the hip, or maybe it goes skyward. You can look down at the ground, or if you want to play with balance, you can start to look up towards that thumb. Breathing, right? If you fall out, come back in. Stacking those hips open, and then gently float your way back to warrior two. Adjust the feet as you need. Take a breath, and then cartwheel those hands down and around. Slip back, downward facing dog. Again, option here, vinyasa, flow through, come down to your child's pose, or stay in your down dog for the other side. Take a breath. Take what you need. Reconnect. Notice the difference between right and left. And then that left leg's going to lift. Draw it forward between the hands. Spin that right foot open already. Cartwheel it up. Again, sink into that left hip. See if that knee can go out towards the pinky toe. And loosen the shoulders, right? You're reaching through the fingers, but the shoulders are soft. There's no tension there. And inhale, we lift. And exhale, we lower. Inhale, rise. And exhale, lower. With your breath, each time maybe that front thigh comes a little closer to parallel. And then hold, strong gaze over those front fingers. Flip that palm, keep the bend in that knee as you reach back. And then exhale, extended side angle. Elbow to knee, reach the right fingers. Find a little lift and space between the ribs and that left thigh, and then rise up. Warrior two, hands to the hips, hop that back foot in a little bit. Right, half moon on this side. So hand's gonna come down outside that pinky toe. We're gonna lift the right heel, press through that lifted leg, nice and flexed. Hand can stay on the hip or rise up. Breath. Find lightness in that bottom hand. Maybe you even come up onto the fingertips. Stacking those hips the best you can. And then gently float back to warrior two. Find it for a moment. Let those hips readjust. And then cartwheel down and around. Slip back. Stay here or flow through and flush it out with the vinyasa, or let it rest with a child's pose. 5 breaths. Take what you need. Notice the space in the heart, space in the hips. Full breath in and full breath out. We'll all meet in our downward facing dog. Inhale high on the toes. Exhale, bending the knees. Look forward, step or float your way between the hands. Lift the heart. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep out and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Full breath. We're going to come long ways on the mat. Go ahead and take the feet underneath where your wrists would be, right? Find your version of a star figure. Then hands will come to the hips and we'll go forward. Press through the tail, reach through the crown, hover here, draw that navel up to the spine. Imagine you have 2 magnets on the belly in the back. Hover, and then let the hands come down. Let the head shake out. Yes and no. Release any tension in the neck. Really press through the outer edges, the blades of those feet to give you support. And then we're going to inhale, lift up. Maybe roll all the way into fingertips. Exhale, roll down. Sink that forehead low. Inhale, flat back up onto fingertips. Exhale, down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down and hold this time. Maybe it's right here with hands under the face.
You can practice opening those fingers wide, bending the elbows as if you're about to come into like a tripod. You'll feel that lift you up in the navel. If you have a tripod handstand in your practice and you're somewhere at home you want to do that, feel free. Otherwise, you can play with taking both hands over to the right foot and hanging out there for a moment. Full breath. And let the hands come through center over to the left foot. Hang out there. And back through center. This time we're going to bend the knee as we go from side to side. If you've come up into a handstand, let your feet come down. Find your center, fold. And walk the hands like crab fingers over in front of that right foot. Bend the right knee. And then back through center, walk them over in front of the left foot, bend the left foot. Toes stay pointing forward. So just coming back and forth, getting a nice stretch on the inner thigh as you move left and right. If it's too much on your knee to go very far, you can simply stay up on your hips and work just a little bend in the knee. Maybe one more time each side. And then back to center. Hands to hips, rise it up, and go ahead and bring your way forward. Shake those legs out a little bit. And we're going to let all of our weight come into our left foot. Inhale, right knee up. And go ahead and hinge at the hips. Find your warrior three. Press through the heel of that right foot. Hands can come to the hips or they can come to the heart. Keep that right hip squaring down and eventually let the hands come down in front of that left foot. Standing split. Right, your leg does not have to be high. It's more about keeping the hips squared. So if your leg lifts up but you're opening the hips, square that hip off and lower those toes. And then release that right foot down. Rise on up. Shake it out. Let the weight come into the right foot. Let it ground down through the heel, through the ball of the foot. Inhale, left knee lifts. Hinge at the hips. Kick that left heel back. Find warrior three. Right, lengthen the spine. Left hip squares off. Draw those magnets together, navel and spine. And then let the hands come down. Check in with that left hip. If it's flaring open to lift that leg, square that left hip off. Reach through the heel. And release that foot down. Slowly rise up. And shake it out, let it go. So same thing we did on the outer thighs while we were seated. We're gonna go ahead and pat on the legs. Go up and down on the hamstrings. See if you can loosen them up a little bit. After that standing split, you can go back outside the legs, give yourself a little massage, and then let the hands come down towards the feet. Maybe you take the first two fingers and circle the big toes. Inhale, lift the spine. Exhale, draw the elbows away. Let those hamstrings open. Otherwise, hands can simply be on the shins with a tall back. If you have the toes, releasing them. Inhale, reverse swan dive your way up. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, so we opened the hips in our Ardha Chandrasana. Now we're going to close them in with eagle pose. So again, grounding the weight onto that right foot. Lift the left knee this time, but it's going to cross over. Maybe you're going to wrap the toe around behind the leg, or simply use the toe as a kickstand, right? That's totally fine as well. Arms open out, left elbow comes under, right? So whether you have that kickstand toe or whether it's wrapped around, keep those elbows lifting up towards the chin. The hands come away from the face. You breathe. Maybe you sink down and elbows come towards the knee. Otherwise, staying right here is perfectly fine. Full breath in. Full breath out, wherever you are. If you've come down, you slowly lift out and release it, let it go. Shake the arms out, shake the legs out. Let the weight ground into your left foot now. Right knee's gonna rise. We're gonna take it around the left leg. Again, kickstand for balance. Otherwise, wrap those toes. Arms come out. Right elbow underneath this time. Backs of palms or fronts of palms. Wrap those arms. Lift the elbows, hands away from the face. Find your breath. And maybe you start to find that Utkatasana chair pose energy as you sink down, keeping the heart lifted as those elbows start to come towards the knees. Otherwise, you're staying where you were. If you have come down, you're going to slowly rise back up. Open it out, shake it all out. Take the feet as wide as the mat and loosen up the spine. Let it go. Big deep breath in through the nose, inside out. Right, shake out any stress, any tension. Release it out. And so we're gonna make our way on down towards our mats. Go ahead and find yourself with your fingertips pointing towards your body. We're gonna lift up into those hips, press into the heels, open up the heart. Exhale, hinge at the hips. See about letting the hips slide back through the hands without touching the earth. Little lift in the abs. Swing the hips back, lift up. Right, that's a maybe. Right, see about it again. Maybe let those hips swing back and rise up. One more time. Lift in that core. Swing those hips back through the hands. And then let the hips come down. Heels are out in front. You can shake those legs out. You can reach the hands behind you and tick-tock the toes from side to side. We're gonna bend the right knee if this feels okay, right? If you're finding that when you come back up to sit, there's a lot of pain, keep it loose, right? You do not have to go, or you can simply take it into half tree, Janu Sirsasana this way. But maybe you can get that quad stretch with the foot behind you. Maybe you're staying right here and this is enough in that quad. Or maybe you're gonna walk your hands behind you a little bit. That's gonna intensify that stretch. You could even go so far as to come down onto your elbows, right? Relax the head and breathe, but find where you need to be. Right, staying upright is okay. But breathing into that right quad. You can be leaned over and sort of working out that hip flexor if you need to. See how tight it's feeling. Another breath or two on this side. And gently let that right foot come forward. Shake it out. And then we'll roll onto that right hip. Left foot tucks under. And each side might be really different, right? So see what you're finding in this left quad. Maybe you are able to come back onto those elbows, right? If that's too much, you find where you need to be and breathe. Let the breath help the muscle release, right? These large muscle groups, a quick flow through does not sometimes do a lot for them. It's this holding and breathing that will allow them to lengthen and make space, getting below the deep muscle tissue and into the fascia that holds on. And gently rising up from wherever you are, letting that left foot swing around, shake out both legs, open the legs wide. So if you have a pillow here for Sleeping Dragonfly, if you did get a pillow, or if you have books that you want in front of you, feel free to use those. Otherwise, simply sitting upright is okay. Maybe the hands start to walk out, but keeping the spine tall. If you find you're really rounding to come forward, right, come back. Spine is lifted. Imagine the heart coming out forward. Find your edge, and from there, the head can drop, but keep the spine long. Press through those heels if you can, toes to the sky. If you let the feet get floppy, you'll notice how that completely changes the stretch. press through the heels, toes lift up. That might mean you need to come up out of it a little bit, right? But find your edge, find where you can breathe, get into those inner hips. And just like we did standing, we're now going to rise up and take the hands over to that right foot. So maybe it's simply outside of the right knee. Maybe you're staying right here. Maybe you're walking hands towards that right foot. Mindful that that left hip stays grounded. If it's really rolling up and out, lift back up and simply frame out that right thigh. Pressing through heels, finding your edge, and breathing. Inhale back up through center, take a moment at center, let the spine adjust, and then frame out left thigh. So same thing here. If you come forward and that right thigh is really lifting off the ground, come back and just stay right here. Otherwise, if you have space to move forward with those heels pressing and toes lifted, go ahead, come over the left leg. Inhale back up to center. Help your knees up and in. Take the feet as wide as the mat, just like how we started. Let them go left and right. And next time they come to the right, you can frame out right knee. You can come behind right thigh, or you can twist all the way down onto those elbows. Wring everything out. Full breath in the twist. Next inhale can bring you back up. Back and forth a few times to neutralize. And then let the knees come to the left. Again, frame out knee, frame out behind thigh, or come all the way down onto those elbows behind you. Right, so our twists, they flush us out, they wring out everything our body doesn't need, they get rid of toxins. So mindful to keep a full breath even as you're twisted, and your next inhale can bring you back up. Go ahead and let your knees come skyward, arms can lift and roll onto your back. And just take a moment, hands on belly or one on belly, one on heart. Let the spine soften. Check in with the low back. If you need to make any little pelvic tilts where you press the low back into the mat for a moment and then release. That might feel good on the backs of the hips. Get any crunchiness out of that low back. And then our hands will come down by our sides and we'll squeeze those legs together and lift the toes skyward. We'll make some circles with the legs in one unit. Give a little massage to the backs of those hips. So these can be small or large circles. The larger you make them, the more you'll roll and massage the outer hips. The smaller the circles are, the more you will just be rolling out on your low back. So see what you might need. Reverse directions of these circles. And while you're up there, feel free then to still them and just circle out the ankles. You can open the knees up or make some scissor legs, whatever might feel good. Take a few breaths to do that. And then we will let the knees bend, let the feet find the earth. Cross the right ankle onto the left knee. And let's see if we can do it without hands, right? You all know we're going to sort of the supine pigeon. But if you leave your hands on the mat and you hug that left thigh in, what does your body do on its own without you tugging, right? So see what you find. If you see that that right knee is really dropping in without your hands, can you move that right knee away from the face? Can you flex both feet? And maybe you want to make some pulses with that left thigh. Maybe you want to work, open the hip that way, or you can make even some circles here. So see what you find if you do this differently instead of traditionally squeezing the thigh in with the hands. If you really want to hold the thigh, feel free, but maybe try something different. And eventually holding, breathing, stretching into that outer right hip. And then arms are going to come out to a T. Keep this figure four shape, and we're going to stamp that right foot on the floor over to the left. Gaze over right shoulder. So the right knee is lifted. You're still getting a stretch in that hip area, and you're also getting a twist. Belly can be soft. Full breath. See if you can use the engagement in the abs to squeeze that figure four shape back up to center, and then let the left foot down, unhook. And just take a moment. Let the hips neutralize. Notice the difference between left and right. Again, maybe you want to press the low back into the mat, kind of get the crunchiness out of the low back. Tilt those hip points and release them down. And then other side, left ankle onto right knee, hands by the side. See about lifting that right thigh in without your hands. See about that left knee moving away from the face without your hands. And maybe you make some pulses, left thigh can lift and lower. Maybe it's some circles. See what you need to make space in that left hip. And eventually finding where you can hold, feet are flexed, left knee moves away, right thigh squeezes in. Breathing into that left hip, and then arms are going to come out to a T. Keep that figure four shape. We're going to stamp that left foot over to the right, twist it out. Gaze can go over left shoulder. Full breath in, full breath out. Use the abs a little bit to keep that shape. Bring it back to center, unhook. Let the feet come wide, let the knees drop in on each other. Again, hands can be on the belly or no. Let the low back release. Full breath in. Exhale, let it go. Then you can hug those knees in and circle out that low back. Reverse directions. And then let the feet come down, let the knees come apart. If you need those blocks underneath your knees for support, or if you had pillows that you wanted underneath each knee, feel free. Baddha Konasana, again, hands can be on the belly, or one on the belly, one on the heart. If you want a little opening in the shoulders, you can come out to cactus arms. And breathe, soft in the belly. Let those hips release. All right, notice what you've been holding on to the past few weeks. As human beings, we do like to have some sense of control, or at least knowing what's going to happen. And so if there's tension in your body, as we do not have those things right now, just see where you find it. Is your jaw more tense than normal? Are your hips tighter than normal? Are your shoulders tensing up? And just breathe into those spaces. We might not mentally know what's going on in the world, but we can know what is going on in our own bodies. So this practice, or running, or dancing, or shaking, or whatever you need to do, right? Get into your body. Feel what you need to feel in these times. And so another breath here, and then gently letting your knees come back up. If there's any other stretch you need before we make our way to Shavasana, feel free to take it. Whether that's a happy baby, or you want to just stretch long overhead, reach the toes long, right? Take what you need. And if you wanted to get a blanket for your Shavasana, or a pillow for underneath the knees so your knees have a little bend, feel free to take that. And take a few moments to get yourself there.
And lay back on your mat. Let your head be heavy once you arrive in your Shavasana shape, and it can always be on your belly. If you're feeling like it's been too much external stimulus, go ahead and lay on your belly and take sort of a crocodile pose for Shavasana. Lay on your side if your back is not feeling okay on your back, right? Take what you need. Legs can be up a wall if you're home somewhere and you want to throw your legs up a wall. And then we'll all take a big deep breath in and let it go. Let the body soften. Let all the muscles just drip away. Let the shoulders roll open. Hips are heavy. There's no tension in the neck. Find your Shavasana. No need to control the breath. Just let it be. Start to gently wiggle your fingers and toes and circle your wrists and ankles. If you are comfortable where you are at home and you want to stay in the Shavasana, feel free. I am simply closing for the sake of our live videos, but if Shavasana is feeling good to you, please stay where you are. If you want to come out, gently bringing in movement, gently turning the head from side to side. You can bring your knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Roll off to whichever side might feel good. Stay there for a moment. If you are coming out, and press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Somewhere where the spine is tall and the hips are heavy. Eyes can be soft or be closed. We'll bring our hands together, drawing them to the heart. Our inhale will lift our heart up into our thumbs. Our exhale will soften our shoulders away from our ears. Feel into your body. Listen to your body. We'll lift our hands up to the third eye, gazing gently upward, honoring wisdom above, bowing down, honoring the wisdom in your own heart, and with namaste, the wisdom in each other. Namaste, my friends. Have a great Thursday night. Find some silver linings in all of this, and if I don't see you before, I will see you next Thursday right here. Thanks all. Have a great night.